Good morning to everyone present here. If you are a person interested to know about digital electronics, here is the video which is going to briefly explain about the need for digital electronics. Before I go into the topic digital electronics, first we will know what the term digital electronics refers to. As we all know, electronics deals with how to control the flow of electrons. So it's a study which will represent as how to control the flow of electrons. So this deals with the control of flow of electrons in the semiconductor material. When I say control the flow of electrons, we have in the semiconductor material devices like diodes. We are using devices like transistors. So in these devices, how we are going to control the flow of current or the conduction of electrons? That refers to electronics. When I come to digital, as we all know, we have the information represented by two domains, either analog or digital. In analog, the information will be represented in continuous form. In digital, it is represented in discrete form in only two states. For example, 0 and 1. So, I am representing digital information in discrete levels in two states, 0 and 1. So, when I combine these two, digital electronics, it means I will be designing circuits, electronic circuits, which will work on digital domain in only two levels, 0 and 1. Already I have told you in electronics we are going to control the flow of electrons using semiconductor materials like diodes, transistors, etc. So when you consider diodes or transistors, we can make them work in different regions of operations. For example, if you take transistor or a diode can be made to work in two regions, either cut-off mode or active mode. Similarly, transistors can be made to work in three regions: cut-off mode, active mode and saturation mode. So by using those modes, we can make it work as on or off. So when it is working in the off mode, I will take it as a representation of 0. When it is working in the on mode, I will take it as it is representing 1. So I can make these devices to work in a discrete manner by just getting the inputs 0 and 1, where logic 0 represents certain values. Similarly, logic 1 represents certain values. And now moving into digital electronics applications, digital electronics is applied in almost all the fields. For example, if you consider industrial process automation. So when I move into where the electronics digital is applied, it is used in industrial process control operations. It is used in communication domain. It is used in military applications. And so on. When you consider industrial process automation, we are now designing and developing a lot of products which are very smaller in size and working at higher speeds. So that is made possible because of the development of microprocessors or microcontrollers which are working at higher speed, which is of low size, small size. And that is because of the digital electronics concept which is being used in the development of the devices. Similarly, when you consider communication, previously the communication were in analog, now we are having the communication happening in digital domain. When you have the communication in digital domain, we could see the information being transmitted without any loss of information, which means the error is very less. Similarly, the noise, it is getting reduced and the distortion is getting reduced. So I am able to get accurate information when the communication is happening in the digital technology. Similarly, when you go to military applications, recently Texas has developed a target detector using for military applications, and aircraft detector is also being designed by Texas and it's in use in military applications, which is based on the digital technology. So these are all some applications I have referred to, and these applications will give lot of advantages. For example, if you consider the advantage of why I go to digital electronics, you have many advantages. To name a few, first advantages, when I go with digital electronics, all the devices I develop will be of smaller in size, and all the devices will be working with high accuracy, and the devices will be occupying a smaller space, and it is easy to store, and it's easier to interpret. So these are some of the advantages I can say when you go for digital electronics. You could see in any device you come across. And as far as our subject digital electronics is concerned, we'll be studying 5 units. So those 5 units, it's based on different layers where you develop a digital circuit. So your first unit is mainly concentrated on minimization. When I say minimization, when you develop any product or any circuit, it should occupy only smaller space and it should be of reduced cost. So we have to design circuit in such a way that it is contributing to that advantage. So we have several minimization techniques. You have the earlier minimization techniques being done using applying Boolean laws. Later we had Karnaugh map method to reduce any given expression. Then came prime implicant method. Each one was developed because of the advantage we had to face. If it is Boolean laws, we can apply Boolean laws to reduce any expression, but the disadvantages, it will reduce the expression, it will take more time. So to overcome that, later Karnaugh map was generated, designed, and in this method we can reduce the given circuit size, but here you can apply for only few variables. The number of variables increase, it's also difficult using K-map, so we moved on to prime implicant method or Quine-McCluskey method. The other name of this is Quine-McCluskey method. So the first unit actually concentrates on how do you develop a circuit with minimized size. So that is the first unit is about. Your second unit deals with combinational circuit. So as far as combinational circuit is concerned, we can refer like combination circuit is one which will give the output based on the inputs you give. Which means if I am designing any combinational circuit, I will give certain inputs for which I get certain outputs. So the output you get here, it entirely depends on only the input you give at that instant. So that we call it as combinational circuit. So since it's dependent on only the present input, here in these circuits I don't require any memory or any storage device to store any data. Whatever you give for that, based on the functionality of this circuit, it will work, it will generate the output. So in this combinational circuit unit, you will study about different types of circuits, like you will study adders, you will study different types of subtractors, you will study about multipliers, you will study port converters, you will study about magnitude comparator, you will study about decoders and encoders, you will study about multiplexers and demultiplexers. So these are all different topics you study under combinational circuits. If you take adders, you will study different types of binary adders. Along with that, you will study about parallel adder, serial adder, BCD adder, fast carry adder. So under this, you study various types. Similarly, if it is full subtractor, you will study about binary subtractors. Then in addition to that, you will study about what is a parallel subtractor, and you will also study about the combination of adder and subtractor. And you will study about multipliers, You will study code converters which will help you to convert from one code to another. You will study about magnitude comparators where it will compare the given input A and B and it will give you the output whether A is equal to B, A greater than B or A less than B. Similarly, you study about decoding and encoding circuits. You will study about multiplexing and demultiplexing circuits. So all these things will generate output only for the input you are giving. And in the third unit, we study about sequential circuits. When I say sequential circuit, it is actually a combination of combinational circuit along with memory. When I say sequential circuit, it means combinational circuit along with memory. So here when you look at the output of the sequential circuit, it not only depends on the present inputs, it also depends on the past data. So when it is dependent on the past data, I need some device to store it. So which we call it as memory. So in sequential circuit, before you study in detail about its types, you will study what is a memory unit. So in memory unit, 1-bit storage element is, we call it as flip-flop. So flip-flops are called as 1-bit storage elements. So in flip-flops you have different types. You have SR flip-flop, you have JK flip-flop, you have D flip-flop, you have T flip-flop. So SR refers to set reset, then D refers to delay, T refers to toggle flip-flop. So JK actually you have added version which is also called as master slave to overcome the drawback you have in JK. So these are the different types you will study. For all these types you will study about its truth table, its circuit working and how to create the state table and the excitation table. So using this flip-flops, how to construct counters. So if you have just one flip-flop, it is used for 1-bit storage. When I cascade the number of flip-flops, I can form a counter. If I am cascading 4 flip-flops, I can use it as a counter to count 4-bit data. So what are the different types of counters you can have? So counters generally they are classified into synchronous and asynchronous counter, and in that you have different types like up counter, down counter, up down counter, mod counters. So you will study all those things under synchronous mode as well as asynchronous mode. So these things you study under your third unit. Coming to fourth unit is about asynchronous sequential circuit and the problems you encounter in asynchronous sequential circuit. Your sequential circuit it's classified into 2 types, synchronous and asynchronous. In synchronous actually it involves clock pulse. When I say asynchronous, it means there is no clock. So how does it change the state? It will change the state based on the level of the voltage or level of the pulse. So when you construct circuits like that, it will be working very fast but it will be very complex. So when we are constructing such circuits, we will face a lot of problems. So what are the problems you encounter in asynchronous sequential circuit? You have problems like races, you have problems like hazards, you have problems like cycles. So these things you will study under the synchronous sequential circuit along with its classification. And your last unit, 5th unit is about different types of memory devices. Under this, we study about the classification of memory. Then we study how do we construct circuits using read-only memory, using a decoder. Then we study about PLDs. PLDs stands for Programmable Logic Device. In programmable logic device, we have many types like PLA, PAL and FPGA. PLA stands for Programmable Logic Array. And PAL stands for Programmable Array Logic and FPGA stands for Field Programmable Gated Arrays. In all these things, which array is being used for programming, based on that you get the difference. If I take PLA, you have the array of OR gate and AND gate, both are programmable. But when you take this, only AND is programmable or array will be fixed. In field programmable gated arrays, we have actually the interconnection of rows and columns forming matrices and fusions, wherein we store the data in each of the gated arrays. So these are the different types you study under memory device. So these are all the 5 units you will study under digital electronics. We will see in detail about the digital electronics in the coming classes. Thank you.